going on, people? Good morning. Welcome to United View and welcome to another episode, another morning of the Transfer View. Loads to get into. Wednesday morning, getting closer to that Monday night, first game of the season. You know what I mean? Where transfers start to die down and all the attention starts turning to the season. I say transfers die down until August 31st, really. It's the opposite because we want
We
want the extra couple. We want the extra couple in, the extra couple out. Is there going to be last minute deals? Obviously, KG's big war kitty, KG's big war chest. We got to look out for that. He promised us all year. This guy's been telling us for ages that there's this war kitty. And I was saying to him yesterday, actually, in the Flexing KG show, I was like, well, we're not really into war kitty territory yet, KG. So far, we're in the same batch of money that was always reported that Man United could spend. That's where we're at. Anything over this now is then into the player sales that everybody said that Man United would need to generate to be able to buy players. So far, it's just followed a normal timeline, not a secret magic war kitty that KG says it's there. There's going to be extra funds. No, the funds that we need now are for the players that we need to sell, which we always do. But, you know, KG's KG, innit? He has his other things.
He's a guy, yesterday that did the show. He had not been awake for the entire day. I mean, that show was recorded, at 1 o'clock in the afternoon?
Yeah.
And we went, I saw you say to him, yeah, Roy Keane, incredible with the kit launch. What? Kit launch? He watched it in real time. If you want to see Flex's KG's reaction in real time, go and have a look. Because legitimately, that is his real-time reaction. It's incredible.
It is typical KG. We will be talking about Hojlund's back injury concern because Erik ten Hag was talking to Melissa Reddy yesterday. And obviously other news outlets are reporting this injury, this undisclosed injury that Rasmus Hojlund has. Or Hojlund. Have you been practicing?
Hojlund?
Just
take
it's
quite
quite easy, really, and it's not hard.
Take the D off. When he was doing the pronunciation, I don't know if you saw, he sort of went Hojlund.
Yeah, he's added the extra.
Hojlund. I think just take the D off the end. That's close enough for us. I think that's good. Put that work in. And the thing is, about a lot of people won't do it because it's very easy just to go Hojlund.
Yeah,
very easy.
And because of the Haaland thing as well.
If you're willing just to go Hojlund, that's effort.
I could do that. I'm going to do Hojlund. I can get used to that. But we will be talking about that. We're going to talk about Scott McTominay's move to West Ham. Is that off as the Hammers are now looking to get a deal over the line for Southampton's James Ward-Prowse and Wan-Bissaka, new deal as well. That stirred up a lot of conversation yesterday evening on social media. I want to talk to you about that. And the latest with Maguire and obviously Lopetegui has left Wolves. So they're trying a new manager bounce us already. It happened all last season. I think we had about 3. Did we have 3 new managers last year?
We had it was
Leeds, Villa, and there was one more.
We had 2 in the Europa League.
Oh, yeah. Sevilla as well. And
no, we had the other 2. We had 2 in the group stage because Neil Lennon left the stuff from Cyprus. And then
but he left after, didn't he? He left after.
And then
he played us twice.
And then we had Sheriff as well. The Lennon one happened before the last one. Yeah. We had like 5 teams.
Lennon was definitely there when we played him because I remember speaking to him.
Was that
game? And
was that one at home? Oh, maybe that was then.
Yeah,
we definitely had at least 4 then.
Palace.
We had a lot.
Was it Palace? I can't remember. But anyway, they always do it. They always do it to us. So we'll talk a little bit about. But straight anyway to what we really want to talk about right now. Hojlund, back injury.
Yes. Rasmus Hojlund. Now, Matt Hughes from the Daily Mail has said that Rasmus Hojlund is nursing a back injury, which is likely to limit his playing time for Manchester United at the start of the season. Now, it's not just he's going to be out of action, then once he's back, he's fit. It's actually a bit more than that, because it's also been reported that an MRI scan conducted as part of Hojlund's, I always know that's the D. That's very going to be challenging for Hojlund's. Yeah. Manchester United Medical last week revealed a stress response hotspot in his back, which can be the start of stress fractures in young players. Manchester United are adamant that following intensive investigation during Hojlund's medical, there is no fundamental issue with his back and that all he requires is a period of rest. But medical sources outside of Man United say such injuries require careful management and have suggested it's unlikely Hojlund will be able to play 2 matches a week for some time for fear of developing into a stress fracture, which would lead to a lengthy layoff. So the concern is that not only is this problem going to keep him out for now anyway, because he requires a bit of rest, but also once he does come back because of this issue, he might not be able to keep up with the schedule of playing 2 games a week, which the issue is Man United tend to play at least 2 games a week because obviously Champions League, cup competitions, as the season goes on, you would hope we're going to be going deeper into those competitions like we were last year. So is that cause for concern, Flex? Not only the start of he's injured now, or there. Well, actually, this is the thing, isn't it? Because the reports are saying that, he's got this, and Ten Hag, but when Ten Hag did that interview with Melissa Reddy, he was quite calm about it.
We can't believe Ten Hag. Stop there. We can't. Listen, this is the same guy.
These are not accusations. This is false accusation. And
it's facts, though, Owen. Is it? Have we? The biggest thing we took away from last season, yeah. Of course, we took away progress, and wow, we did better than we expected. All of that kind of stuff. But the biggest thing we actually learned was how Erik Ten Hag moves. The type of decisions that he makes. He is a liar. The way he can bluff things in the media, the way he protects his players, the way he can act like something is not, and then all of a sudden it's something else. We've seen it. I don't need to go through it and name all of them and go into depth, but Cristiano Ronaldo, Harry Maguire, McTominay and Fred, Martial the whole season, Jadon Sancho, like he can master David De Gea was the biggest of them all in the end, ultimate backing all the way through. And look, so whenever I've learned that whenever Erik says something in the media, within reason, sometimes you got to go, well, you put that straight. Or you have to read between the lines a little bit. Now, am I going to go into a frenzy and go, oh my God, we've been sold a dud. He's going to be another Martial. I don't think it's cause for that. I go back to the old Owen analogy that you always like to use of the sieving for gold. There's probably something in there. He clearly is got something, an issue.
He's probably going to play against Wolves because of it.
He's not going to play against Wolves, but I don't think he was ever going to play against Wolves, really. I mean, well, I suppose if he was fighting fit and was really perfect, he could have been on the bench. But he was never going to start against Wolves because, he's come in quite late. He only got announced on our last pre-season friendly at home. Well, second to last, but, only got announced last week. But if he was able to train all week at the optimum level, he probably could have made the bench, to be fair. But again, I'm not going to go crazy. It does sound a little bit, when you said it was talking, I was like, remember the Rashi with the back? And it's like,
well, that's what they were saying. They were saying, Marcus Rashford missed a significant amount of time with a stress fracture in his back. And by all accounts, that was because he had this issue and he kept playing on it and playing on it.
So we're scarred from that. Because we've been through that with a player and we know. Exactly. So it's like, but it doesn't mean it's the same thing. It doesn't mean
it doesn't mean it's the same thing. Like I said, in that interview, despite the way Ten Hag moves in the media, he seems fairly calm about it. Melissa Reddy was sort of saying to him, so Hojlund's definitely not going to play. And he was like, well, he's here. He's training. It's clear, eh? He's here. So we'll wait and see. We'll take time. And it must be stressed also that part in the article, which got a lot of people talking about not being able to play 2 games a week because of a fear of overloading the injury, that came from medical experts outside of Man United. So they're medical experts, but they're not experts of this specific situation with this specific player. They haven't seen Rasmus Hojlund's medical records. They haven't seen the issue that he has. So those doctors at United might be like, they're miles off. It's not even that bad. It's just, it's just a bit of rest. I think, the concern is that this came up in the medical and clearly it wasn't mentioned to anyone prior to. They literally discovered it and went, what the hell is this? And Atalanta went, oh yeah, about that. You know what I mean?
Cheeky.
And that
After ages trying to get the big piece.
Exactly. So that's part of it. And I've seen people say, well, how did he pass a medical then? You can pass a medical with a myriad of injuries. The medical isn't to check like, oh, he's got a broken leg, he can't pass a medical. You probably not going to sign someone with a broken leg. But the point is that it's just to, like in this instance, flag things that they didn't know about or have a look at things and go, we didn't know about that. That looks pretty bad. Because when we signed Wayne Rooney from Everton all those years ago, he had a broken, broken metatarsal? He had a broken foot. He did it at the Euros, didn't he? So, it's you can pass a medical.
Happens all the time.
All the time. People come
when they fail.
Injuries.
Like you said, when they fail, it's because they think, well, this is something that's not going to go away.
Yeah, we didn't know about that.
It's going to take you 6 months. What's the point in this?
We didn't know it was that bad, actually. Or I'll tell you what,
So the fact that, so I think basically, like you're saying, the fact that the transfer has even gone ahead with United discovering this shows you that it's nothing huge. Now, obviously, the gamble of that is, as is any injury and any kind of, biological thing that happens to you. You can say, oh, it's only this. And then sometimes you didn't anticipate it could turn into something else. That's just the body. That's just human nature and science, and biology. But I think obviously with the doctors that we've got and the stringent medicals that are in place, you would like to think, he says, famous last words, you would like to think that the decision to carry on with this big transfer, this is a massive transfer. This isn't this is Manchester United's new number, not going to be the actual number 9, but you get my drift. This is our striker for a long time, hopefully. This is our project striker. Yeah. So hopefully we haven't signed a kid with loads of ailments that won't go away through bad decision-making through a medical where we've seen these, was it heat spots or something like that? And and it gets worse. That would be extremely unlucky or extremely stupid. And I don't think either of them will happen. And also you have to take into consideration the media. It's Manchester United, big signing. There's some news there. There's some, the transfer's over, but we can carry this on a little bit. We can.
There's a narrative.
Dive into this.
There's a narrative. Don't get me wrong. Exactly. He's young. United have overspent again. We don't know who this guy is. He's a flop. United are incompetent when it comes to business. They bought someone that's injured, or they bought someone even though they knew about the injury, and then they pushed it through anyway because they're desperate. He's going to fail. Manchester United are going to fail. Everyone's a failure. Like that's the story, isn't it? That's the story that they want. And I suppose it's going to be up for United and Rasmus Hojlund not only just to come back and improve everyone. It wasn't that bad, and I scored goals. So
exactly, which my initial feeling is, and again, it could change with a bigger sample size because once we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games, once we get to and we ain't even seen him sort of solidly training with the first team, on the bench or something. Once it gets past that, and we go, like with the Martial thing, when we go, hang on a minute, where is he? Like. It's all like, and that's what I mean. Like Eric said this on Wednesday the 8th, right? Or whenever that was recorded, if it was recorded the day before, whatever. But around this time, mate, if it gets to September the 8th and we ain't seen him once, you're going, well, that's a month. What's going on here? What's going on here? And don't get it twisted. As we know, our guy, Peachy, Eric, Rasmus Hojlund, any update? Any update on his injury? Do you know what I mean? And he will get pressed every week. He's not in the team because he's a new signing and we ain't seen him yet. He's going to get asked. Probably won't get asked for the actually probably will for the presser on Friday. He's going to get asked straight away. Rasmus Hojlund, how's he doing? How's he been training? Report. We know he probably missed tomorrow or Monday, but is he in line to start against Tottenham away or play against Tottenham? You know what I mean? And then we'll get an update. So the longer it goes without hearing an actual thing about it and not seeing him, then there's cause for concern. But I'm not there yet. I think let's let this play out. Let's not buy into the narrative like what you were saying. Got to have it in the back of our heads, by the way, because us and strikers and injuries is something that we're a bit scarred from. Whether it's Rashid, whether it's Cavani, whether it's Martial. If you think about the last sort of 3 strikers we've had.
Even Zlatan did his knee.
Oh, Jesus, yeah, awful. We've been riddled.
And also he'll get asked about Hojlund's availability, and then because I think when that Melissa Reddy interview happened, I don't think there was the news about the back injury at that point. So I think he'll be asked more specifically about. So, with this, it's been rumored to be a back injury, Eric. Does that mean that even when he is back, he's not going to be able to play a full schedule? You're going to have to manage him, that kind of stuff. And
there's an extension on it.
He'll brush it off because he doesn't talk about injuries anyway. He'll just go, he's working hard.
Even with Varane. Imagine, even with Varane, there's never been like he can't, he's never going to come out and say, he can't handle 2 games a week. So, we've got to play one. And you just don't say that. You just say, as with every player,
we manage every player.
We manage them. Yeah, that's all he's going to say. He's never going to say in public. Don't say that as a manager.
But this is what I will say, because I've been beating this drum for however many weeks now. Even if we had a fully fit 100% Rasmus Hojlund up front, we need another striker flex. We need another striker to support Rasmus Hojlund, because guess what? Even with the injury, he's only 20 and he's still very much unproven, and it's going to be very up and down for him this season. And we need more goals. We don't need Marcus Rashford playing as a 9. He can do it, but he is better on the left. We have seen that he's better on the left. He's more effective on the left. So we need a striker. I was saying that anyway. And I'm not saying, we're going to get Harry Kane.
We said we always needed to.
We need another striker. So I still think if we can raise the funds, I mean, Maguire, we'd replace him with Todibo. Fred and Donny, when they go out, maybe Amrabat comes in. We'll talk about the McTominay move in just a second, because that might be off. But if you can raise the funds, I still do think United have to have a look into that striker market and say, can we get someone, let's say an experienced person, 25, 30 million euros, something like that, to support Hojlund in that case?
Or it could be another young one who's like up and coming. He's going to cost you 20 million, 15, 20 million that they like might unearth this. You know, like other teams always get this striker from like, you know, Flamengo or something, or, you know, Santos. You just, you know, things like that happen all the time. Someone that we might not know that much about. Let's get the super chats out before they get outdated and we move on to the next topics, etc., etc. Aminor, bit of sad news, says, Flex, my mum's cat got killed. Please pray for Aslan the cat. Sorry to hear that.
Sorry to hear that
about your mum's cat. Yeah, apologies. Hope she's okay. No, a lot of people who actually, I'm not a massive pet person. I've never really had pets, but a lot of people really close to their pets.
Yeah. Dog.
Yeah. Okay. I had a cat. Actually, I did have a cat and a gerbil before, but yeah. Apologies to you, bro. Hope your mum's okay. Lil Yo-Yo says, Flex, can we get a Spinneroonie if Wamby signs? Yeah, why not? Why not? I mean, I'd do it for less, don't I? Really?
Yeah.
I've done Spinneroonies for less.
Done Spinneroonies for less, and they'll be coming up on. And if you want to just find that clip in particular, you can go to the United View Clips channel, which is just launched, by the way. It's the pinned comment in the chat. Go to United View Clips, subscribe. There's only a couple of clips up there right now, but more coming soon. And a great clip to go on that one is Flex's Spinneroonie. I remember the game as well. It was the game against Liverpool. We lost 4-0, and Flex and KG got bored, so they started doing weird shit. Which was Flex doing a Spinneroonie. You're doing that. KG, I think, laughed so hard. I was actually worried about him. You know, when KG laughed so hard, I think it's like, is he okay?
He's going to need that.
Yeah. Tremendous.
Honestly, those are the same way how that Europa League theme tune just came about. It's just the organic stuff that just,
you know what I mean? Yeah.
That does have to come on there. Just things that just happen off the cuff, innit? You don't know why they've happened or why you're doing what you're doing in that moment. It just happens. Yeah, I'm a very what do you call it? Not knee-jerk person. What's that? Reactive, kind of spontaneous, reactionary. That's it. All of them words there. Lux Hill says, Flex, remember early on when UV started, you and KG called Ollie a liar and listed all the lies. Who's the bigger liar now, Ollie or Eric? That is original. I do remember that because I think that was around the time when it was about the Dean Henderson thing happened. What else happened in the lies? Jesse Lingard. Yeah. There's a few where I was like, bloody hell, he said this, and now look at this. Who's the bigger liar now? Do you know what? It's a positive though, because it's being a liar for the good, isn't it, of the club?
Yeah.
I'm going to say Eric.
Media. Well, I say Eric lies to the media, whereas Ollie used to lie to the media, but you got the impression he also used to lie to the players. You know what I mean? So he'd go to Dean Henderson, you're going to be number one. And then he was, or Jesse Lingard, we're not going to tell you what, you've got a really important role to play. And then he wouldn't play a game. Whereas you get the impression more Eric's just like, you know, he'll just say stuff to the press. And then once he gets back into the dressing room, we'll just say something completely different. But... Exactly.
Big up to Jacqueline in the comments as well. Jacqueline says, negative thumbnail again, boys. Where's the positive thumbnails? Well, Jacqueline, the positive thumbnails will come when the positive news arrives, because obviously we've done the positive thumbnails in terms of Hojlund deal agreed, Hojlund announced, you know, Onana announced, you know, Mason Mount announced, you know. But the truth of the matter is that the latest news is that of Hojlund.
Well, you can only do the news. You can't, when we just spoke about liars, you can't literally come on here and go, not injured.
Yeah,
because he is.
It'd just be false. Would just be lying. So I mean, we could have a thumbnail of, I don't know, season about to start. But in terms of the news,
we can't have like, you know, Maguire. The deal is done. It's not yet.
It's not.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Some people do that. Like,
but can't do that.
It's not. It's just not what we do. So apologies, man. Apologies. We want the positive thumbnails as well, but. As is the news, my friend. As is the news at the moment, which isn't all doom and gloom, by the way. I know it's like it is a bit of negativity because you don't want your new signings to be injured. You want to play straight away against Wolves, play 90 minutes and score a hat trick. But that's a concern right now. It is a concern.
I don't think anyone saw that news yesterday and went, "That's fine."
Yeah, because again, we finally need this new striker. We want this new striker. We've needed it for ages. and all of a sudden, you finally get him. He's bloody injured. It's typical.
Yeah.
Such law, as they call it. Ahmed says, selling Maguire, Scott, Fred, and Van der Beek will give us enough money to buy Amrabat and Kane.
Kane?
Well, if you see what happened with the Kane situation, it's what me and Owen said all along, to be fair. We said we think he'll stay. Yes. And that remember, well, you quickly revoked, but that Real Madrid /Bayern, and I said,
Real Madrid. I said he was going to Real Madrid, didn't I? I did. Yeah, you did say that.
And I said he ain't going to any of them foreign places. I just can't see him doing it. I can't.
Well,
and you never know with Bayern. You never know.
It must be said though.
But I can't.
It's not a case of he's not going there because a bid's been accepted. I think that's kind of what we were saying, wasn't it? Is that he wouldn't choose to go there. If a bid was accepted, he might go there.
But here's the thing, though. Look, the season starts on the weekend. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Season starts. I think they play on the Saturday, don't they? But really, from now till Saturday, can we see?
Well,
Harry Kane
he said, didn't he? He said, "Look, if I'm a Spurs player when the season starts, I'm a Spurs player. I'm not going anywhere." And
he hasn't pushed for a move, has he? He hasn't got. You have to take.
And he was saying, I was watching Sky Sports News yesterday. They're really interesting. I think it was Kave and Darmesh were saying that, and Michael Bridges. They were saying that his partner's heavily pregnant as well, so they need like planning if they're going to be moving to a different country and all that kind of stuff, because you might not be allowed to travel. And he was like, he's just not going to put up with it.
He's never going to do that. What I mean? Yeah, and you can look. I get it. Again, from the outside looking in, as football fans, you got no ambition. Surely you just make it happen. But personal circumstances and what's important to you is what players make their decisions off, and we forget that as fans. Which means we'll take him on a free in 2024, please.
Yes, please.
So no problem. He can stay where he is. Yeah. It's probably better actually, because then next year it could just be a bit of a not free for all, but we can definitely get in there then for a free.
Yes.
No qualms. And if you think about it, I mean, City is still going to be set. Liverpool is still going to be set. He's never going to go Arsenal. Would he go Chelsea? Say they have a bad season and they just need that.
Depends on the season.
Could he go Pochettino? Never know, but he might not want to undo the Spurs legacy and go straight to there. We'll be up there.
Yeah,
he will be up there with the most viable option. So fingers crossed for them. P.S. I know KG was busy in the US on preseason tour, but I am expecting a mega long scout report from our tier 9 source after the transfer window shuts. Oh, well, different guy, but
different person.
Big up to UPS. We'll see on that one. And Avi says, I'm happy for McTominay to stay as a squad player. And that's a nice segue, actually. Before we do go into Scott McTominay, we're at just under 200 likes, 185 likes. Can we hit the like button? That'd be great. Just under 1,800 people watching live as well. So big up to everyone tuned in. Get your comments in. Get your super chats in, whatever you want. Interact in any way you want, and we'll get to you. McTominay move off.
Yes, so Jacob Steinberg from The Guardian is reporting that Manchester United value Scott McTominay at £45 million, and West Ham could switch their focus to other midfield targets as they are not optimistic in securing the Scottish international. It was reported that United might be willing or prepared to soften the valuation of McTominay if West Ham could agree up to £10 million in add-ons. This would include finishing in a European place or domestic cup over the next 5 seasons. However, it was reported late last night by David Ornstein that, unfortunately, he's going to West Ham are going in for James Ward-Prowse flex. So it looks like that one's not going to happen.
Yeah, I think on this, what will be for me, what's important is for people, and I'm not saying I've seen everybody do this, but I'm just saying out loud, is let's not get angry the fact that transfer is not happening because we think that because we said no to the £30 million. Just because whatever they're going to pay for James Ward-Prowse is good for them. That doesn't mean that was the right move for us in terms of the money. Now, people can say, because there was a lot of people on the situation of, well, you're never going to get this sort of money again for the likes of Maguire and McTominay, take the money and run. And, well, me and Owen had our say on that. Some people agreed, some people disagreed. And I get it. If you're in the camp of people that disagreed yesterday or around that situation, you're now going to be, you're now going to be in the camp of, now we've stalled and now they've gone and spent whatever they've spent on James Ward-Prowse. But that doesn't mean it was the right deal for Manchester United. We can't do deals based off where they might go and get James Ward-Prowse. Like Owen said yesterday, that's what it is. That's what it is. You know what I mean? Pyramid said, Flex, stop trying to be United's PR guy. Let the fans react however they want, brother. It's a free country. That's exactly what I'm saying. Some people agreed. Some people didn't agree. So it depends what camp you're in. That's exactly what I'm saying, my bro. It's a free country. So some people will think this and some people will think that. Not why is everybody thinking that? That's not what I'm saying. I'm literally saying everyone's going to have a different opinion. So some people think this and some people think that. So me personally, I don't see it as like a hand-in-hand situation of, oh, that's our fault. Now they've gone and signed him. Whatever deal is right for us is the deal that I want us to do. So yeah, we'll see. And someone said it there in a super chat just before we went on to that, actually, in that segue. It was Avi. He said, I'm happy for McTominay to stay as a squad player. KG was talking about this in the Fetz and KG show, where he said certain games off the bench, he doesn't mind Scott with that skill set that he has to mix things up. Look, if we did let Scott and Fred go and you get Amrabat in, it's an upgrade. Don't mind that. But if Fred goes and Scott McTominay has to stay, it is what it is, isn't it? I'm not super mad at that. But McTominay is still a sellable asset, and obviously there's the Roma situation as well. Things can happen.
Yeah, things can happen. I think people will see this news and be like, see, I told you we should have accepted the £30 million offer. And I still push back on that. And I still say you should only accept an offer that you're comfortable with or United value Scott McTominay at. I think 30 million is below his value. And if West Ham say they weren't willing to go higher than that, then we're not going to sell him to West Ham. That's it. I mean, Erik ten Hag has said himself that he's happy to keep him this year as a squad player. And it's not me, oh, you're justifying him. This is the problem with the club. Flex, we're the problem with the club, accepting mediocrity and all that kind of stuff. No, it's not really that. It's just a case of getting the money's worth for your asset. You know, and that's the case. And there still might be other clubs that come in from, you mentioned Roma, you mentioned Newcastle, they could come back in. And if they come back in for, you know, with 40 million or close to, or they're willing to negotiate as well, then by all means, sell McTominay. But they didn't come in with enough money. You know, that's it. They feel, they seemingly with James Ward-Prowse that they can get him for less, 30 million. So they're going to go get James Ward-Prowse, you know, but that's negotiating. That's how transfers work. As I said yesterday, I don't understand why United are the only club that's not allowed to negotiate when it comes to selling players. And then when we do sell players, we go, oh, I tell you what, we sell players terribly. You know, if the move's off, the move's off. You know, that's part of transfers.
Yeah, as out of the two players with McTominay and Maguire, when you hear the noises of Ten Hag's happy to keep Maguire, but a bit of this will let him go, or Ten Hag's happy to keep Scott McTominay, but a bit of this will let him go. The one I believe most is the McTominay one. You know, I think we can clearly see he ain't happy to have Maguire there. Like, it is what it is. If he has to keep McTominay because there wasn't enough money, he'll use him. He'll use him in certain games. You know what I mean? Or if someone's injured, I think he'll be. He won't. If someone's injured, he won't put someone else there instead of Scott McTominay because he don't rate him like he does with Maguire. You know what I mean? That's the biggest indication. Yeah. If touch wood, if we don't get Amrabat and you know, Casemiro got injured, Scott McTominay will play. You know, for in the right game, or you know, or Christian Eriksen, which actually we can see with Christian Eriksen at the minute, and not even just at the minute, just that kind of bit of a decline, that kind of steady decline in terms of, you know, movement, getting around the pitch, impact on the game. We saw it. What's happened now? Breaking news.
A bit of breaking news. A bit of a double breaking news, actually. Which one do you want me to go with first? Transfer news. So it's been reported by Sky Sports.
Oh, there you go.
West Ham are close to an agreement with Manchester United for Harry Maguire. The clubs are finalising a structure on a deal worth over £30 million, with personal terms now not expected to be a problem, which, to be honest, was the biggest hurdle in all of this because they were unsure about whether or not he actually wanted to go to West Ham. Was it a step down? Blah, blah, blah. If Sky saying personal terms are not a problem, then he's gone. Thoughts? I've got to do some changes.
Yes, you make the changes. Go live, Owen. Go live. We're already live. Not much of a surprise. All the noises coming out yesterday were saying that Harry Maguire deal is close. There's a willingness from both camps to get this done. Melissa Reddy was talking about this. Our mate Darmish was talking about this as well, and saying that, you know, apart from the gaps coming down, Manchester United are being more flexible. They rejected, what was it, the first 30 million that they put down, or the 20s or something stupid like that. And now it's going to be over 35, or over 30. So is it 30 plus add-ons, or, you know, 35 plus a bit more? Who knows? We'll get to get the information the more that comes out. But when you hear Sky, again, like people say, slow sports news and stuff like that, Sky, before they go with anything big, have to touch in with the club. And with them being such a big outlet and a rights holder, they don't attach themselves to anything. Maguire will leave. Maguire will leave now, which isn't really, we kind of knew it was coming, but that is the first significant, one of it's imminent. And then now what we'll probably get, because actually this is before the likes of Ornstein, this is before the likes of Fabrizio have come and said, move expected to be done. This is Sky kind of going off the bat, really, unless since we've been live, we've missed the likes of Ornstein and, even Laurie Whitwell has got one here about Hojlund, about Arsenal. We'll get to that in a second, but he hasn't gone with that. It's Sky. So actually, I'm on the transfer show tomorrow, actually. Is this coming from the transfer show that's on now? Are the guys on now?
They'll be on now. They'll be on now at 9 o'clock. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me know in the comments. Is it been broken by those guys?
I'll do a bit of more research.
To see where that's coming from.
Most,
I can't
most
see
likely,
how it won't be that.
Yeah, most likely what's probably happened is as they're going through these boom, 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 boom. You know how it works. They probably said that again, that this deal is close, which again is significant. And I'm sure, like you said, all of these people now are probably picking up their phones and going, "Is that true? Is that close?" Yeah. And like you said, knowing how that structure kind of works, with how things, like you said, get cleared, that would appear that maybe that might be a direct line from the club themselves, actually, or at least something the club are comfortable with being put out there. One would think, right? So again, certainly that's significant. And I did think that when we were chatting yesterday about the two bids of 30 million for McTominay, 30 million for Maguire, and I said I feel like 30 million for McTominay, that's quite light. I felt 30 million for Maguire. My initial sort of response to that was my initial response to that was that's close. I think that's quite close.
Right, just
considering.
Quickly,
go on.
Yeah, Darmish. Okay, cool. So he would have sent that in. So yeah, it isn't the crew that are on now, but it is Darmish who has gone with that, but not whilst he's live on air. Sometimes what happens is, when those guys are off, Carve and Darmish, if they get information while they're not on air, they send it through to their desk, and that will be Darmish. So I won't be surprised if Darmish starts tweeting soon.
Probably soon. Sometimes, again, the way I've noticed it as well. With that
agreement
kind of
close.
Yeah, the way sometimes that happens is they wait to go on the air, and then the tweet will come, basically. So I think that's a suggestion that again, that's close, which again is significant. So yeah, my point was yesterday when we were chatting about this was that 30 million for McTominay was probably light, but at the same time, 30 million for Maguire was pretty close, particularly when you think about his wages. Obviously, he's on 190k a week. So it's not going to be as high as a McTominay or anything like that. He's older as well. So 30 was close, possibly a little bit added on, like you said, add-ons, maybe going to like a 35, but my only concern with it was, well, they can get a bid fee agreed, but what does Maguire want? Does Maguire want to go? Does Maguire want that move to go through? And if they're now saying personal terms, not a problem, then like you said, I think he's gone. I think it's done.
Yeah, and it's time. People just making some messages here. People, we've wanted. This needed to happen. It needed to happen. I mean, me and KG were speaking about it yesterday. Was it just the final nail in the coffin with the booing at the Aviva Stadium? It was in terms of a spectacle where you looked at it and gone, there's no more reminders you could possibly get that this is an untenable situation. But I still believe that Harry Maguire knew the writing was on the wall before that. I don't think.
Yeah, I found that really interesting that you said that yesterday. Yeah, I noticed that you said that actually, because I was the opposite going, I don't think he knows. All the reports are saying, he wants to stay for his place. But you're of the mindset of, I think he's always known.
He must have known. There's no way. Look, this is just my opinion. I don't know. There's no way. I don't believe there's any way that he sees himself as fifth choice all the time. On the tour, he's been in the second team the whole time, apart from against Dortmund, where the second team started the first half. Yeah. So that's, again, you're still part of the second team. That hasn't changed. And Luke Shaw is played ahead of you in those positions, and you got the captaincy taken off of you. KG was in the mindset of now the captaincy's got taken off him. Maybe he thought, there's a place for me, I can win it back. I'm like, nah, I don't think Harry Maguire ever thought that. And actually, where we questioned his, people were saying, how can he want to stay in these circumstances? Does he not get the message? Things take time. Things take time. And it's not until a transfer window shuts can you start labeling that at a player. oh, he didn't move. They didn't want to, because clearly he's obviously said, I'm open for it. Then it takes a week or two for bids to start going in. These things take time. More importantly, though, for me, PS, you owe Alex money now since the fee is under 40 million quid. I do.
What was the bet? What was the bet that you had with AGT?
I was like, we can get 40 million for Maguire. I always thought we could get 40 million. Yeah, I was like, nah. And I think he said something like below 30. So we might be wrong as well, but the bet wasn't that. The bet was, if it's 40, I'll get the money. If it's not, he will. And hopefully them add-ons are at least 10. Because then I can say, well, the overall package is this. But it looks like it's going to be like 35-ish, isn't it? Which was 5 million off. Some people actually like Maguire, like say, take a bloody packet of ready salted, for him. Let's not. But a bet's a bet. So I'm sure AGT will be he will be on to me as soon as he sees all this news breaking, actually.
Yeah, what do you think he'll say to you? What would an AGT message look like to you in that instance?
Just brother, pay up. Where's my run me my peas, run me my money, brother. I told you it'd be something like that. It'd be something like that. And in fact, what I'm gonna do is at the end of the day, mate, it's like winning the lottery. It's your job to play the ticket, mate.
Happy to pay the money.
yeah. I'm happy to pay the money. Happy to pay, and that too. Happy to pay the money, but it's his job to claim the winning ticket. So I'm not gonna chase him to do that. That's gonna be up to him. Which he had a flipping bet of 10 grand that he was potentially going to lose if Arsenal won the league last year. So he knows all about.
I did see that too.
But yeah, listen, a bet's a bet. I don't even know how much money we put on it. I don't think we put money. We just bet. So I might send him a quid. I don't think there's any value on it, but yeah, interesting. But yeah, Harry Maguire, there you go. It's right, and he will do fine at West Ham.
He'll do well there. Yeah, I agree. He'll do well there, and also
I don't know what the team will be like under David Moyes and how they play. It could be another relegation battle. I don't know.
Well, also it means well, Flex. I would say that this is also cause to get excited because if Harry Maguire is going to leave, that means Manchester United will most likely get a replacement, and that replacement most likely is going to be Todibo from Nice. Who, look, I can't say I'm an expert on him. I haven't watched a ton of his stuff or anything like that. Done like everyone else, watched the comps and all that kind of stuff. But in terms of a profile of player, I think there's reason to be excited there because, as I've said, if you're going to have a fourth choice, which is what Maguire is. You look towards a younger player. Todibo's 23. I think, was he 6'3", something like that?
Yeah, decent on the ball. To learn. Yeah. I saw a report saying he's going to play next to his idol because obviously I saw
something similar. I think he got called up to the France senior squad. He didn't play, but the France senior squad for the first time in March of this year, and they were describing him as the next Varane. Now, maybe that's just a very lazy comparison. Probably
that could be Saliba.
But the point being is that. He's a player on the rise. Used to play for Barca. Didn't really work out there. But I'm more comfortable having that kind of player as my fourth choice.
Absolutely.
Of actually, we can develop him into something. We can make him into something.
Because again, it's planning for the future. Because let's face it, obviously Lindelof is vastly experienced, and he's the one that we'll keep because we're happy with him as a third or a fourth choice centre back. For him to just step in, when he stepped in last year, he was brilliant. Really calm on the ball. Yeah, he's going to make a mistake here or there, but we always saw it as. And this is no disrespect to Harry Maguire, it's just the truth. He was the one bringing down Lindelof. He was when Lindelof plays in a decent squad. Lindelof proved that if he has to play with Martinez and Casemiro now and the upgrade of players that we've got, he don't look that far out of place. Can we win a Premier League title with Lindelof playing 38 Premier League games? If everything else was perfect and we're scoring loads of goals and you got Martinez there fit the whole season and we're firing in midfield, he could. He's not bad like that, and that's not me saying. Lindelof is better than, Van Dijk now, or now Lindelof's better than Diaz. That's not what I'm saying. But if everything was all right, he has the ability to just play and do his job and not make mistakes. He could do it. And he's good on the ball. So we was always happy at keeping him for another year, at least. And like you said, the biggest problem was Harry Maguire because his skill set, when needed, still doesn't match. It's one thing taking him out the first 11 and saying, you're just not going to be that guy. But like as we saw last season, which was really unlucky, both centre-backs got written off. Both. So then you're like, that's why your squad needs to be prim and proper at all times. Like Owen said, like Eric said, I need two. He needs to double up in every position. He was saying in that interview as well. He said, I need two for every position. And we've had two for every position, but the Harry Maguire
it's
one,
not as if Maguire was coming straight in as well. Yeah, he came in initially, but once it became an option of, can we just put Luke Shaw back at centre back?
He did it exactly.
Maguire.
So every single piece of information and decision showed us that no matter what it is, he's only playing Harry Maguire as a last resort. I.e., too many games back to back. It's only 3 days after the game before. I can't play Varane, and Martinez has been injured, or Varane's only just come back because he came back quicker, didn't he? He came back. Not Martinez didn't even come back. You know, Varane needs a rest because we got the cup final then, or whatever. Got to play Maguire. Like, you know, we had to do that. Then it's out of an absolute must. So. Yeah, it's got to happen, and like you said, with this young Todibo, hopefully it is him. I mean, we're acting like it definitely will be. You never know.
Well, yeah,
it could just be someone else.
well, the typical Man United thing would be the whole Maguire's gone, Johnny Evans, sign on the dotted line, my friend. Welcome back to Manchester United. And I'm telling you now, Flex, I'm telling you now, I know what you're going to say because I've got the same opinion of you. I watched him in pre-season, and I was like, maybe Johnny Evans can do it. He cannot do a job.
No,
it's gone. It's gone.
And it was not, listen, it's nice. I was saying to KG about the sentimentality of it. And when you break it down, it's the most Man United-like thing to do. This is no plight on Johnny Evans. Great guy. Caught up with him on tour. It was nice to see a familiar face. It was great.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, having a little spud. Yeah, what are you saying, Johnny? How you doing? Oh, good to see you, bro. But in the grand scheme of things, when we're trying to rebuild, you don't get rid of Phil Jones, finally, and then go and get Johnny Evans. You just don't do that. Like, you just don't do it. Now, I get it. If I was to say to you now, Owen, they're going to take that 30 million and go and get a forward and then give Johnny Evans a 1 year just to get us through, what would you say?
No.
You'd rather spend the money on the centre-back?
Get the centre-back. Because
if someone does get injured and then Johnny Evans does have to play.
It was, again, not to be harsh on him, but particularly like when he came on in that last preseason game, when was it? At the weekend. Yeah, even then, he got like a couple of times, he just got rinsed. And that happened a couple of times, even against Wrexham. Do you remember Wrexham?
Yeah.
It was ball over the top, and he's got done.
Rinsed,
And I thought
that's what happened when they punched his lung.
Punched his lung. Yeah, and you looked at it, and I think, like you said, you go Johnny Evans because you think back of when we sold him. You go, we sold him way too early, and he's achieved a lot in the Premier League.
But don't go back
he's a Premier League player, but he is not Johnny Evans of when we sold him.
It's like I spoke to Herrera the other day. It was brilliant catching up with him. Absolutely loved it. He loves United. It was great to catch up with him. Should we go back and get Herrera and try and get just like it was then. It's not now. And look, at the beginning, Johnny Evans won't be a bad thing in terms of having around the place and the morale in the dressing room and those things. He'll tick a box. Absolutely. He wouldn't. That wouldn't be awful. But I just think the message that it sends when we should be moving forward is that we've always got the potential to move backwards, you know. And I just don't like. I just think just move on. Stop doing this United thing of trying to plug the gaps. And if you don't want Maguire to be there, you don't want that skill set. Sell him. Use that money to go and get someone who you do think's good enough. Not bloody. We get Johnny Evans for this. That's like extenuating circumstances. But now there is money, like you said. There is money there. So go and get the young up and coming centre back.
And you're planning because, like we said, when it comes to Varane, maybe at the end of the season and the next season, it's a case of we need to find someone that can, assist him and also overtake him in the future. And again, we don't know if Todibo is going to be that guy, but at least you're trying to actively plan and you're being a bit proactive and you're going right. Because Varane's not going to play every game this season. He can't. Even if he stays fit throughout the whole season, he cannot play every game. So already you're talking about Martinez and Lindelof. Then what happens if Martinez gets suspended or he gets injured? Then what? Or what happens if Lindelof picks up an injury? Like, we need someone more than Johnny Evans in that situation. And again, I'm not saying Todibo is that guy. We don't know. I don't know his game that well. But I think that seems like the profile of player that Ten Hag would be looking for. And also those sort of backups and those younger players have to be in the mold of what Ten Hag is looking for as well. Part of the problem with Harry Maguire is he just didn't have and doesn't have the attributes of a centre-back that Ten Hag wants. He's looking for people a bit like Martinez that are just unbelievably comfortable on the ball and can bring the ball out of defense and are fine being press resistant and having the ball under pressure. They're going to get it from Onana, in the ball's in position where they're in a lot of pressure, work your way out of it. So they need to be able to do that. And, again, no disrespect to Johnny Evans, but physically he's just not that. And also it's just, it's just no.
Yeah, just no.
No.
I mean, I put in the chat there in a poll just to see what you guys think. Should United use the Maguire money on another forward or a centre back? And let's see how this turns out. Already an early lead is the centre back, but interesting to see what people think about this one. Is it just a complete absolutely should be a centre back, or do some people actually go down the route of Johnny Evans, can do a job for 1 year while we recoup and get it depends on who the striker is though. You know what I mean? Imagine 30 million or a loan or whatever could get you João Felix as backup and bring him in, and you keep Johnny Evans. Like there's scenarios, yeah, where there could be puts you and you go, oh wait, I didn't know it'd be him. I didn't know that he was available.
I know
right.
it just
you just don't. You know what I mean?
After seeing him in pre-season, the thought of actually having a Premier League game of having Johnny Evans centre back, you just be like, that's going to be a disaster. And again, it's not a slight on Varane, because I saw Vicky in the comments there saying, no player can play every game, so why single out sort of Varane, paraphrasing. But we know Varane's going to play less than other in that position because he has to be managed. He actively has to be managed. He said that himself.
She says it. How could it not be a striker? This is going to be quite close. This is 54% centre back and 46% say striker. And I know you wanted a striker, but you're saying
I do want a striker, but I just think that is a risk.
It's really close. It's literally split. It's really close. I mean, again, I'm thinking about it now, and I am still leaning more towards replace Johnny Evans. But the striker thing is just such a thing. But then you know what?
Striker anyway. I'm just getting a striker anyway.
Yeah.
But
would you rather? I know you said you don't want him to play there, and obviously Martial's going to stay, and he's not reliable. He's not going to play 90 minutes, but he can support and play 20 minutes here, 15 minutes there. Again, because this is going to be another season where our striker department's still not fixed. We've got the main guy now, so we can build. We're going to have to go with another season with a support cast behind the main guy. If Hojlund struggles or is not hitting it off, or if he gets injured, you're going to have to go with Rashford/Martial. And then you go, right, we'll just fix the centre-back thing now, and then we'll readdress that next summer. Something has to give. Something, because, again, we can't do everything, and we probably still want Amrabat if once Fred/Donny van de Beek leave. So, and if McTominay stays. So there are still it's 50-50 now. It's literally 50-50.
My feeling is that, so let's say we get the striker in, which, like I said, I want to get the striker anyway. I get Taremi from Porto. He's older. He's 31, but his numbers are very, very good. He can be available for like 30 million euros. Go get him.
Yeah.
However, my concern with it is that Varane, Martinez, they're our starting centre-backs. Again, we're saying that Varane got managed the load. Okay, fine.
Yeah, so that's Lindelof,
Yeah, but you're one injury away from either of going, let's say it's to Varane, of Martinez and Lindelof with Johnny Evans on the bench. And then we're getting into territory, once we get into September, of 2 games a week. Then we start getting into cup games as well. That load starts to build up. We're not far away from Johnny Evans starting in those games. And I'm not saying we're going to lose because of Johnny Evans, but even then, like you said, we had 2 centre-back injuries at the end of last season. What happens if we get 2 again? What happens if Lindelof and Varane are injured? And we're playing with Martinez and Evans? Who's even going to be on the bench? Or do we then get into? Or then do we get into? Okay, well, Luke Shaw just plays centre-back, and then Malash is going to play there. Malash hasn't played all pre-season.
Or Dallo would have to play left back.
Dallo would have to play, and then
or Fernandez doesn't go on loan, because then there's so many things that can.
And then happen. I think Ten Hag would look at it. Maybe I'm assuming here. I think Ten Hag would be looking at it as, well, we got Hojlund, Martial, I know, but we got Rash. They even said Rashi can play up there.
I was just about to say that there's actually more striking options than there are centre-back.
I'll play Jadon in there, maybe. You know what I mean? That's what he might look at.
Yeah,
I want both.
Yeah, of course, and plus Amrabat as well. It's a hard one. I don't think there's any right or wrong.
I don't think Harry Maguire centre back. Get a striker.
Yeah,
been saying get a striker anyway. Get it.
I don't think there's a completely right or wrong answer on this. Either way, both are a gamble. either way, you have to prioritize something over something else. And those are the decisions that you live by in football. That's just what happens. The same thing as whether, obviously, I know Kobe Mainu got injured, but then there was a decision there of like, should we still keep spending money and get an extra midfielder, or should we use that money and go and get forward and trust that maybe Kobe Mainu can do it? It's just a decision you have to make on the spot, and it will either work or it will either not work. It could be the best season ever where Kobe Mainu broke through and he proved that when in times of need he could be our Garnacho like last year, or it proved that it was too much for him. You have to make decisions, don't you? And as we can see with the poll, with it literally being 48% say striker and 52% just ahead with centre back, that it clearly splits opinion. I think you're right. I think I just still shade with the centre back one, extremely just, literally a reflection of the poll, because I think there's just more options and decent options. There's better decent options available at the top end of the pitch than there is at the back end of the pitch. And we have actually just got a striker which, barring really unlucky fortune, should play a hell of a lot of games for us. And hopefully, though, it's like he can handle the load and he's not looking out of his depth, so you've got to take him out. Because obviously he's only 20. He could go wrong where you've got to take him out because he's not ready yet. But for £64 million, you'd like to think there's a lot of assumption there that he's ready to go now and they think he's going to do well. Even if he's not scoring a lorry load of goals, he should be able to hold his own, contribute to the team, and the goals will come. The only way he gets pulled out is if he's having an absolute mare and really can't cope with the physicality and needs saving from himself as a young player, which if that does happen, we'll support him. It happens. But I just think the centre-back situation, I think once you don't replace the centre-back and we might get one or two more injuries, you're quickly going to find yourself. That's what I'm saying. Accumulation of games, you're quickly going to find yourself in a situation whereby you've got Johnny Evans and Lindelof starting against someone decent on a tough away day in the Prem or whatever. But some people will say, listen, Johnny Evans can do a job. It's not that deep. He's an experienced player. Obviously, he's getting himself up to speed in pre-season. Don't take those couple of little nutmegs for, the whole of him. If he's next to Lindelof in the first team with everyone else playing the Man United on the front foot at Old Trafford against bloody Bournemouth, he can play next to Lindelof and we can get through, which he could. I know, like we said, he got rinsed a couple of times, but if he was playing with the first team, and this is me just kind of thinking of different scenarios now. If he was playing in the number one team at home against bloody, who's not going to have the ball against us? Sheffield United, let's just argue, yeah. Johnny Evans, Martinez, or Johnny Evans and Lindelof. Then it's Shaw, then it's Wan-Bissaka, then it's Casemiro, Mount Bruno. We're all over him. We've got the ball. Johnny Evans could play in that game.
It's just a case of if you're going to have him as your fourth choice centre back, are you comfortable with him playing games in the Premier League? Because there's a chance that he will, and not even just Premier League, just cup games as well. Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah,
because it's not as if I said
Luton Town,
possibly
Luton at home.
I was thinking of it when he was going to be like fifth choice, possibly keeping him when he just got that contract in the summer. As wow, he's not going to play really any games. He might play a League Cup game here and there, maybe an early round FA Cup, something like that. But if you're fourth choice, I mean, how many games did Maguire end up playing last season for United?
Let's have a check.
Let's have a look.
Yeah. Let's have a check. I mean, it wasn't many starts, but in terms of appearances, I think you're right. Because the injury happened to both centre backs towards the back end of the season, probably got more.
So he played 16 times in the Premier League last season. Again, how many of them were subs? I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of them would have been last 5 minutes as well.
Yeah, but
8 games. People are saying
he started 8 games. So even that, would you be comfortable with Johnny Evans starting 8 Premier League games? And I know that was extenuating circumstances at the end of the season.
Depends who they were against, doesn't it? Because you'd say no, but again, if it was it was away to Bournemouth, at home to Luton Town, home to Nottingham Forest, or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like games at Old Trafford, basically. And it's away. When we had to start Maguire against Leeds away.
Well, a bit of breaking news again, Flex. This is a very fast and developing story. So they are going with on Sky Sports News right now. West Ham United have an agreement in principle with Manchester United to sign defender Harry Maguire in a deal worth in the region of £30 million. So they're saying that an agreement has been reached. It's not even just like it's close. An agreement has been reached now. Thoughts and your reaction to that?
It's happening. As soon as it came through this morning, and even back
Soon it came through that
yesterday,
they're close. He's going, and
it's
it's in
happening.
personal terms. It was right. He's gone.
He's gone. He's gone. Melissa Reddy yesterday saying a willingness to get the deal done, etc., etc. When Sky go big, they go big, and they go full on because they're sure of it. So that is it. That is it. I mean, you said he wouldn't go, didn't you? You said no. You can see the January thing, see him holding on,
I did
realize the January thing. I think I went with now.
That was based upon those reports suggesting that he was happy to fight for his place. You know, he wanted to prove himself. I might have even said that before he got stripped of the captaincy as well, because those reports before he got stripped of the captaincy, there were still those reports of, well, you know, maybe he might stick around. Like maybe like you were saying, that the captaincy being stripped, maybe that was the last thing to push him over the edge. Maybe his thought process was,
there's no way whilst
I'm still captain, whilst I'm still captain, that implies that I've got a role to play. Even if it's not on the pitch, I've got a role to play at the club because I'm a leader. Yeah. I'm leading the team. And the moment that gets taken off him, you've got your leadership role isn't even required anymore, Yeah, exactly. So maybe that's part of it too.
Yeah. And also, I was going to say another thing as well about Maguire. I can't remember what it was now. Oh, yeah. How ironic is it that when we were looking at suitors for Harry Maguire during the season, because we knew it would probably get to this point, West Ham was at the top of the list, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We said he could probably play for Spurs, but you talk about, and it just goes to show that when we say that players leave Man United, the only way is down for a lot of players, unless, they're exceptional. Usually it's a downward move, and to not get into the Spurs situation and go to let's face it, West Ham are not settled. They've not had a good window. The pressure is on. Yeah, they won the Conference League. They've lost their best player in Declan Rice, or the most influential player. And they're in a rebuild phase without Declan Rice. And David Moyes has got to have a good start because he could be the first manager to get sacked.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke like Lopetegui's gone, but the actual first one to get sacked in the season, I think a lot of people would put a good bet on David Moyes because, like you said, the window's not been good. Even after they won the Europa Conference League, there were discussions of, is Moyes going to stay on? Because, like you said, in terms of a season in the Premier League,
it was awful.
They were poor. They were really poor in comparison to where they were. Like for the seasons prior, they were like knocking on the door of Champions League.
7th and 6th, I think it was. And that's why, to be fair, if you look at his sample size of coming in, settling them down from saving them, then twice exactly, then knocking on the door of Europe in the Europa League, nearly winning it. What, to semis, didn't they, against Frankfurt? Was it?
Yes. Well, Frankfurt. Yeah.
And then last season,
for kicking a ball.
Yeah, that was ridiculous, honestly. David Moyes, what a guy. To then go in and giving West Ham fans something a lot of them have never seen in their whole lifetime. His sample size, actually, he deserved to stay on and prove he can change it around. But if it doesn't and the early signs are crap, then you get your statue, you've done something amazing, but it's time, So Harry Maguire is going somewhere where, like I said, back to the level that he is. And from our point of view, now we can talk about it, £80 million, man. And we've just lost 45 million, just like that.
Oh, it's always going to be a write-off, isn't it?
Always going to be a write-off. But I'm just saying now it's done and it's official. It's like, do you know what I mean? Just before we go, because we didn't really touch on this because there's been so much going on, we have to talk about obviously what Laurie Whitwell was saying about Rasmus Hojlund. So I'll go through that. He says that Manchester United are targeting the date of Arsenal away for the debut of Rasmus, as a potential debut for Rasmus Hojlund. His minor back injury requires a few weeks of rehab. He also goes on to say that Rasmus Hojlund is on an individual training program. He was running on grass at Carrington on Tuesday. Man United are not putting a definite date on his return, but the club insists Hojlund's injury is not a long-term issue. So, that things like that can change. Things like that can change. And now Darmesh has come into the studio and he's waxing lyrical. He says, West Ham have an agreement in principle with Manchester United to sign Harry Maguire in a deal worth 30 million. Still work to do on details of United exit, but West Ham now cautiously optimistic of completing. And words like that, or cautiously and optimistic, those are key lines from head of comms at West Ham or even at Man United, or, when they say we're aware of or cautiously optimistic, all of those things. they're all buzzwords of it's going to happen.
I just saw Laurie Whitwell has also tweeted basically saying the same thing, that United have agreed a £30 million deal with West Ham. Personal terms are not expected to be an issue. And again, to me, that the second part of it is the most significant part. The fact that Maguire's seemingly clearly made his mind up. Yeah, I'm off. You know, I'm happy to go. Then that's it. That's it. And it's, to be honest, you want to talk about overhaul at United. You want to talk about the difference that Ten Hag has made in terms of shaping this team. It's drastic, isn't it, really? Look at some people that have gone. David De Gea, Cristiano Ronaldo, Harry Maguire, Fred's going to go, as well. I mean, these are names that have been lightning rods for people going, they're not good enough. Or at this point, like Ronaldo is too old. He's washed. De Gea, he's been there for too long. Maguire, he's not good enough.
Season.
And in literally a 12-month period, they're all gone. That's incredibly significant, isn't it?
Just shows you what Ten Hag's on, man. Just shows you what Ten Hag is on. Jam-packed show. Around about halfway through the show, it all started kicking off. It's all going off.
Yeah, the format went out the window today.
The format did go out the window today. Owen, just before we kind of wrap up, is that everything? Let me go to the comments, actually, because I haven't been there for a while. Actually, that's not everything. Yeah, we've got loads, actually. KG, happy to Tommy squad player. Do we use money for Amrabat or a centre-back? I think
that's the one. I think that's the latest one.
Yeah. Right. Avi says, do we use Maguire money for Amrabat or a centre-back? And actually, the poll is saying 53% centre-back, but that's over a striker, not Amrabat. I'm going to end that poll with the centre-back just being ahead. Carrie Moore says, big up Flex and the crew for bringing us the content and on tour, and Owen for holding down the fort in a world-class way. Ready for another roller coaster of a season. Carrie Moore, big up to you. Ready for a roller coaster season? I don't think I'll ever be ready, but it is what it is. We've got to be ready because it is going to be a roller coaster as always. Nem says, big up Flex, KG, Owen and Marcel holding it down. Big up to you, Nem. Appreciate you. So here says, UV, thanks for showing areas we ain't so lucky to see. That's what we're about. We don't just go there and talk about the football and go home. We want to show you everything. We're an entertainment channel as well. We like to, have lifestyle. I don't know. I don't know what we are. We're an everything channel.
We're in everything.
We
are. What we're like, Flex. You know what we're like? We're like the Netflix of YouTube channels because we've got a bit of everything. Yeah. You can go on any category. You can go on any category. Whatever your category is, whether it's sport, whether it's true crime, whether it's romance, whether it's horror, whether it's non-fiction. A bit for everyone. And it's fun.
Yeah, that's true. And it can be informative and serious sometimes as well.
Yeah.
Nigel says the agreement has been reached. Yay. He's very happy about that. Is Nigel. KG's hairstylist says if Evans plays in the Champions League, we're done, bro. And I think that's what Owen's kind of talking about. Like once they're in the squad.
Also said any prediction Owen makes, the club does the opposite.
Is that true? Have you got a bad record?
I don't know.
We might have to start.
If it is, then I'll start saying some wild shit. We're definitely not going to win the league this season.
You trying to do the safest thing? Can we get to 500 likes on the way out the door, Owen, as we leave? Can we? I don't know.
I hope so, certainly. Remember, you can subscribe to the United View Clips channel. The link's in the video description. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe. As always, you know what to do. We're out of there. More content on the horizon. Season just around the corner. Have a good one. Peace.